James Bell of the Boxing Source here with another video, and this video has been one that I've been waiting on doing for a while, but it's gonna end up being a combination video bringing up two particular topics. I have basically been in the game for almost 5 years when it comes to starting podcasts and later on down the line getting into the YouTube craze. And I've been, watching the sport of boxing for many years and things like that. So, I kind of cover the sport. I enjoy the sport. I love talking about the sport. But I also, love to either read columns and articles about the sport or, listen to people's takes about the sport. So, um, real quick, I want to, give a shout out to all of the people that talk about the sport of boxing. Shout outs to y'all. Y'all are keeping the sport going. Y'all are, making the sport as popular as it is today. Because you do have fans of the sport, and we are all fans of the sport. But if it, isn't for y'all to write about it, talk about it, have discussions about it, then the sport wouldn't be where it is today. I don't feel that the sport would be where it is today if it wasn't for y'all. So, I want to, give a shout out to y'all, and particularly in YouTube, there, a couple of guys, people that I, follow on YouTube or watch on YouTube, and want to, give a shout out to those people. So, first off, shout out to my guy that's at YSM Sports Media. Remember, folks, he's out there working hard. All right. Shout out to Fighter IQ. Shout out to Red Glove Militant. Shout out to Ross Clyde 222 Excalibur. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talking News. Hashtag Spud Squad. Hashtag to Counterpunch Boxing News. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille, and I have some new news about Anthony Josh. Oh, all right, whatever. Shout out to DT3, the Boom Man, God Squad, whatever it is. Shout out to Sporting Icons. Catch you guys on the next video. Shout out to Andrew Tucker and Andrew Tucker World. Shout out to Showbiz the Great, Ring IQ, and others and others and many others. Without y'all, the sport wouldn't be where it is today. But for me, I also give credence to guys that have been in this sport almost, longer than I've watched the sport. And I talk about the columnists that are out there, and analysts, like Kevin Iole, Keith Idec, Rich Mancuso, Dan Raphael, and guys like Al Bernstein. I mean, those are I would say the quote unquote pioneers or the quote unquote ancestors of uh, covering the sport of boxing. And for me, it's basically now how the sport is covered has changed over significantly in the past 5 years or so. Mainly, a lot of the guys that covered the sport only wrote about the sport, and that was pretty much it. But now, with the um, rise of YouTube and the availability that people all over the world have getting to YouTube, people put their videos on YouTube talking about subject after subject, and so now things have basically changed over from stories being written on to stories being talked about on YouTube. And even though we still go to the websites and things like that to, talk about these stories, a lot of people go to YouTube first because that's pretty much one of the most popular web pages in the world by far. So going to YouTube has basically changed the game as far as like covering the sport of boxing there. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. The other thing is that with it being that the game has changed a lot when it comes to covering the sport. it has made things a little bit more dangerous when it comes to people that cover the sport and those that are in the sport. Um, I'm talking about like these confrontations that have, you know, basically been talked about. Recent confrontations like the incident with Kenny Porter. You know, and that kind of makes things be a little bit of a slippery slope when it comes to accessibility for people that actually want to cover the sport and actually get credentials that they might not have as many credentials to be available for people as they had before because of multiple confrontations between guys that are covering the sport, guys that have these YouTube channels, um, getting in confrontations with Kenny Porter, with other fighters and trainers and things like that. And then also, one of the big things that has been talked about over the past few days is what brother Ishe Smith has been talking about on YouTube. And this stems from the whole glove gate thing. And damn it, I didn't want to go through the glove gate thing again. But with Ishe Smith, he was talking about it last week. And it seems like certain people that are within the YouTube community went after him, and he has retaliated for the past few days. And the thing about it is we gotta be careful when it comes to talking to these fighters and to these trainers. Like, it seems like the internet has really boosted the ego of a lot of people, and they've been talking a lot of shit straight up. And the internet can give you a lot of confidence, but hey, that confidence could get out the window when you do confront some of these people, right? So my thing is, you got to be careful when it comes to this type of stuff. And Ishe Smith went in on his Twitter account, and some of the tweets that he's made are posted on this video here, and it's kind of been like nonstop almost with Ishe Smith when it comes to this thing. And you gotta be careful with all of that, because I mean, I'll put it like this. There's a line that I think about a lot when it comes to these confrontations that happen between columnists that are out there with cell phones or DSLR cameras or whatever it is, and end up asking the wrong questions, or kind of step over that line with these fighters or trainers or certain people within the sport of boxing. It goes into the line of JT Money in this track, It's Alright. And they say, flawed people talk shit and know they can't back it. Know they ain't real, but always try to act it. Like, folks got to be real careful when they try to talk the way that they talk online, because these boxers and these fighters do pay attention. Sometimes when you don't even know it. And soon you could, basically be confronted out of nowhere, and you won't expect it. And then you'll have to basically show your true self at that particular moment. So that's one thing that I say that those that are covering the sport got to be careful about. You got to respect the game. You got to respect the fighters. You got to respect the trainers. You got to respect the promoters. All of those in the game. Yes, there can be criticism, but you got to be careful with that criticism, because it can turn around and bite you, whether it's being denied credentials or maybe even worse, you might get checked and you might not be ready for it. Hey, that's what it is. That's basically how I feel about it. So you got to be careful with all of that. If you get denied credentials, that's part of the game. It happens all the time, whether it's in your city or not in your city. You're gonna be denied credentials all the time. So brush that off. Apply for the next one. Continue to do what you do because, like I said, if it wasn't for y'all, boxing wouldn't be where it is today. You're part of why boxing is as popular as it is at this particular point. So keep it going, but just be careful with all of that. That's all I got in reference to these particular topics. If you can, subscribe to the Boxing Source here on YouTube and catch the Boxing Source radio show live 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio, or catch the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. On that note, folks, I'm out. Peace.